They said she didn't belong there. They said her hands shook too much, her aim was too soft, her spirit too fragile. And every time the test buzzer rang, every time the instructor's eyes tracked her, she failed spectacularly. But on the day she almost walked away forever, a decorated SEAL commander stepped into her path, looked her dead in the eyes, and spoke only 3 words. 3 words that would break her, rebuild her, and turn her into the sniper no one saw coming. This is the story of the woman who was never meant to win, who never meant to stay, but who learned the one truth that changed everything. Show them, lady. The morning sun hadn't yet climbed over the desert ridgeline when the range whistle blasted sharp enough to rattle even the steel target frames. Cadets rushed into their lanes with the discipline of men and women who had spent months being reduced, rebuilt, and reshaped. But lane 17, her lane, always stood out. Not because she wanted to stand out, but because every instructor's eyes drifted there with the same expectation: the next mistake was coming. Her name was Elena Lady Marquez. 26. Small frame. Soft voice. An almost unsettling calm on the outside, masking something no one could quite read. Her nickname, Lady, came from day one when an instructor barked at the recruits to drop and give 50. She calmly set down her water bottle first, earning a sarcastic "Well, look at you, lady," that stuck long after the laughter faded. Now the nickname followed her everywhere, tossed around with equal parts annoyance and amusement. And she did nothing to stop it. Stopping things, after all, was becoming her specialty. Stopping mid-run from exhaustion. Stopping her breath during cold water drills. Stopping herself from crying when the others snickered at her shooting scores. Elena raised her rifle, shoulders trembling, not from fear but from the memory of yet another failure. She exhaled, let the sight settle, and squeezed the trigger. The sand jumped a foot right of the target. "Instructor, downrange is safer than you are, lady," someone shouted from 2 lanes over. Laughter followed, sharp and cutting. Elena lowered her rifle. She stared at the ground, dust swirling around her boots. She tasted the bitterness of disappointment again. She had been a medic before this, good at reading wounds, steady under pressure, the person soldiers trusted when pain became unbearable. But now, on this range, she felt like the wound nobody could heal. She finished the drill in silence, stacking failure on failure as if building a monument to her own shortcomings. After the final whistle, she turned to leave, wiping sweat off her brow, only to stop abruptly as she nearly collided with a tall man stepping into her path. Commander Briggs. Navy SEAL. Decorated in ways instructors whispered about but never fully explained. He didn't train cadets. He didn't supervise ranges. He didn't even speak unless there was a reason. And now he was staring at her like she was the only person in the desert. "You thinking of walking off this range and quitting?" he asked. Elena swallowed hard. No excuses came to mind. No lies. She simply nodded. Briggs stepped closer, his voice low, controlled, but not unkind. "Show them, lady." 3 words. Not a lecture. Not a threat. But a challenge. A lifeline disguised as an order. She didn't understand why those words hit so deeply, why her eyes burned or why her throat tightened, but something about the way he said them cracked through the armor of shame she'd been wearing since she arrived. Show them. Elena stood frozen long after he walked away. The wind shifted, carrying the echo of his words across the range, and for the first time since she arrived, she didn't feel small. She didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel like the weak link dragging a whole unit downward. For the first time, she felt something ignite inside her. Not confidence. Not yet. But possibility. And that possibility had a voice, his 3 words replaying like a heartbeat she had almost forgotten she possessed. Night fell heavy over the base that evening, thick with heat and the hum of fluorescent lights. Elena sat alone in the open-air gym, hands wrapped, knuckles bruised from hours spent hitting the heavy bag like it had personally mocked her. The bag swung wildly with each punch, but frustration swung harder. "Why can't I get it right?" she whispered to herself. "Why everyone but me?" She had never been the strongest. She had never been the fastest. But she had always found a way until now. She replayed every test in her mind, every missed shot, every slow sprint, every tactical error. It felt like she was stuck in a loop designed to break her. Maybe that was the point. Maybe this place wasn't meant for people like her. But then she heard it again. Show them, lady. A command. A promise. A warning. And something inside her snapped, not the fragile part, but the part she'd buried under years of tiptoeing around her own abilities. She rose from the bench and grabbed her rifle. The range was closed, but the training simulator building wasn't. Inside, the screens glowed with virtual landscapes, urban alleys, forest ridgelines, desert dunes. She loaded a magazine into the simulated weapon system and positioned herself before the screen. Begin scenario, she whispered. The timer beeped. Targets popped up, fast and unpredictable. Elena missed the first 3 shots. But she didn't stop. She adjusted her stance. She controlled her breathing. She slowed down instead of speeding up. She hit the next target. And the next. And the next. Not perfect, but better. Hours passed, sweat dripping, arms shaking as she kept going until a voice echoed from the entrance. You planning to sleep here? Commander Briggs asked, stepping inside. Elena froze. Sir, I'm sorry, I know this isn't. He shook his head. Didn't say stop. I asked a question. She hesitated. I just don't want to fail anymore. Briggs approached, folding his arms behind his back. You aren't failing. You're training. Big difference. Failures end things. Training begins them. Elena swallowed hard. Why me? Why bother encouraging the one person who can't hit a still target? Briggs studied her for a long moment. Because I've seen shooters with perfect form break under half the pressure you've endured. But you? Even broken, you keep moving. You don't quit, only think about quitting. Huge difference, lady. She blinked, unsure how to respond. He pointed to her weapon. Show me. What? Show them, lady. Not with tears. With proof. Elena turned back to the screen. Her hands still trembled, but something in her chest steadied. She launched the scenario again, each shot cleaner than the last. Briggs watched quietly, saying nothing. When the simulation ended, her score glowed on the screen, not perfect, not even great, but better than any she'd logged before. She turned to him, breathing hard. He nodded once. That's the first step, he said. Tomorrow, we take the second. We, she asked. A rare half-smile tugged at his mouth. I don't invest my time in lost causes. And you're not lost. You're just hiding. Her throat tightened. She didn't know what to say, so she simply nodded. As Briggs walked away, she powered down the simulator, feeling something powerful settle inside her bones, the belief that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't here by accident. Maybe the tests weren't designed to reject her. Maybe they were designed to reveal her. And tomorrow, the base would meet a very different lady. The kind who wasn't there to quit. The kind who was ready to show them.